to Leaders of Tomorrow Masterclass, a series of digital first conversations that we do here on Leaders of Tomorrow, talking about all the issues that matter to you. This is a live interactive session, and we're bringing you a two-part special series here on our daily television show, talking tonight about the impact of what's going on in Russia and Ukraine as far as the domestic e-tail and retail space is concerned, the impact of crude prices as far as raw material prices are concerned, as well as the outlook for the rest of FY22. With our guests, let me introduce them. B.S. Nagesh, founder, Trust for Retailers and Retail Associates of India. Yogesh Kabra, founder, XYXX Apparel. Gurmukh Rubra, CEO, Namdharis Group. This next question is coming in for Mr. Nagesh. Priyanka Prakash has sent this in. Priyanka saying, Mr. Nagesh, should the government be looking at specific policies as companies and businesses and platforms? I mean, she's naming a few, but we could perhaps broad basis. She's saying businesses like WhatsApp, Meesho, etc., creating micro entrepreneurs, especially women micro entrepreneurs. What would you like to say, sir?
Honestly, you don't require the government to come in. I think what these marketplaces have done is amazing. A lady sitting out of a garage with a tremendous skill in designing and fashion and garmenting, okay, is selling worth 1 crore on any of these marketplaces without having an accountant, without having an MBA, without having a fashion specialist or a production. I mean, this is something which no retailer would have done it. So to me, the opportunity which is getting created out of marketplace is very high. I just want to combine the earlier question and answer. And if you want to build a brand online or offline anyway, I think the first is get to know your customer well. See, today what's happening is, whether it's media, everybody is sweeping with averages. What applies to a kirana doesn't apply to a hardware paint shop, doesn't apply to a bindi shop, doesn't apply to an apparel shop, doesn't apply to an appliances shop. So it's very, very important to understand that. So digital and technology has allowed you to collaborate, which is very, very easy, and it comes at a very low cost. And the marketplaces has allowed you to reach millions and millions of consumers. Every time when I start a session like this, I thank the Americans, I thank the VCs, I thank the rich people of the world, because honestly, they are doing a great job by putting money and burning cash to develop our businesses in India. What more do you want?
Absolutely. Which brings me, in fact, to my first poll question that I want to take at this point, and we'd love to hear from all of our entrepreneurs who've logged in. You can see this poll question on your screen, and it's a yes or no simple question, but it's also something that is taking up a lot of mind space, particularly e-commerce, and that's something our panelists were discussing. Do you have any concerns about your data privacy while shopping online? Yes or no? Things have definitely changed. The RBI is putting in a lot of measures, but do you, when you're shopping online, still face any concerns over data privacy? Do send us your response. And there's a second question that will come in as well, and we will take that in just a moment. Mr. Nagesh, I want to come back to you and talk about SMEs, and this is a space that you look at very closely. And you know, even as we've been talking about the challenges as far as retail and e-tailing is concerned, SMEs face a whole more additional set of challenges, especially when it comes to funding. And today's environment has definitely not made it easy for small businesses to be able to access those funds. What are the top challenges for SMEs in today's retail market, and how can they perhaps overcome that? What would you want to say?
So if you have a great product, a great idea, and a great concept which is scalable, I don't think there is any shortage of that. Okay. I think what is in shortage is the talent to be able to take you to the next journey. And talent has become expensive, and it is difficult to be able to pay the kind of compensation the talent is asking. But you have your stocks. You can give equity. You can give a wealth proportion to the talent, which most MSMEs and SMEs will not give. They don't mind giving 10%, 20% share to a son who, with all due respect, may not be as capable. But when it comes to an employee, a very competent employee, they would not want to even part with 1 rupee. So blood draws equity. Okay, whereas if you look at the way the equity plays across in the market, it's creating so much of value. So I think if you have the right product, and I think Yogesh will be able to confirm this, there is no dearth of funds. And I think you should really look at it. There are exceptions. I mean, everybody is not a unicorn. Everybody cannot become a unicorn, but you can become better than what you were yesterday. And that opportunity in India is very high. You know, retail has been added up into the MSME sector in the last year, in the last 12 months. Now the opportunity for you to even borrow and get better rates in the banking system has also improved. So things have improved. Just open up your eyes and look at it.
Okay, the response to the first poll that we took in, 88% saying yes, they have concerns as far as data privacy is concerned. 12% saying no. I want to bring in Gurmukh at this point. Gurmukh, I was going to ask you this question, but our audience member has sent us this in any case. Ranveer Singh says, the grocery market is being disrupted. My question for Gurmukh, what will happen to smaller players who are not able to get onto this entire bandwagon of quick deliveries, etc.?
Look, I don't really know when we say disruption, what we're talking about, right? The fact that somebody is selling a 100 rupee product for 50 rupees and getting a consumer and then reselling the same product back to him again from 50 to 25 rupees in the name of customer retention. I think customer acquisition, customer retention is all using somebody else's money. And I think eventually I see consolidation taking place. I think we're already seeing some of those things. And the thing is, there's an evolution of thought process that takes place everywhere, right? We're all still thinking about Swiggy and we're all thinking about Big Basket and Flipkart. The investors that have funded those over a certain period of time are also going to start clocking on and saying, hey boss, look, can I really afford this kind of burning? Can I really afford this kind of spending? And the next set of new entrepreneurs are going to start coming are also probably going to be asked the same questions. Eventually, we can't keep selling the story that the accessible market is 1 billion people and we're going to get all these people through e-commerce. I don't really see the small Kirana guy disappearing. I don't think he's going to disappear in the next 20, 30 years. There may be some consolidation at the level with all these people are playing, but they're all targeting the same set of people, right? They're all the customer that come to an Namdari. There's the same customer that goes to a Big Basket and the same customer goes. There are certain products that are always going to be undifferentiated and price sensitive. And I think as the panel has already been talking about, I think your product differentiation, your product strategy is really what's really going to keep you afloat in this market. And all this noise that is created in the market will have some collateral damage on say certain kind of products and certain ways of consumption. But broadly, if you really have a strategy, you understand your customers well, and you're able to offer you are able to meet the needs of the aspiration of that customer, I think you still have a game to play in. And like I said, e-commerce is not to replace traditional retail, right? It's an incremental consumption pattern.
Sure. This question is coming to us from Rohit Ora. I hope I've got your second name's pronunciation right. He says he's director at Sengi Biochem Exim Private Limited. His question is, what are the basics of effective communication on digital platforms? Maybe one or two things. And Yogesh, since you were talking about building a brand online, from your experience, something that someone in the retail space should do?
Yeah, no. So first is I think you should not try to force fit anything. So for example, let me give you a classic example. If you're a product company for which core audience is 45 and above, and you're using Instagram or you're using a channel that's not the best fit, thinking that life is going to be digital, I think that's the first step that you can avoid, which essentially goes back to who are you selling, what's the target market consuming, because digital is also very fickle. I mean, your message can be lost. I mean, you need to get the audience right and the communication right. So the first part is who are you really, and this might sound easy to answer, but it actually is very tough. Yeah. Who are you really selling to? How do they consume digital? If you've got a good answer to that I think everything else would be
Okay.
pretty easy.
Okay, I'm going to take my second poll question immediately after this audience question. And this is coming in on the vegetable and fruit space. So I will come to you on this one, Gurmukh. Manoj Patel from, he says he's founder at FXM Track Financials. He's saying is procurement offline coming back to online, especially in the fruit and vegetable space. Who will win ultimately? Will it be the online or the offline model? And will it be single retail chains, I'm assuming he's asking about, or the aggregator model when it comes to vegetable and fruit retail?
See, I think there are certain products which get consumed because of a regional ecosystem that is mean that the product is geographically indifferent, right? So you pick a Kashmir apple today, you pick a Nagpur grape, for example. These are all geographically specific products. You then have some of the other key indicator products which are consumption in every household, which is your onion, potato, tomatoes, etc. And these are grown across the country in different pockets, depending on when the rain comes, when the rain doesn't come, and the season. I think if you look at what all the online or the even retail players that have tried to do, they've all gone backward and tried to create their own collection centers. They've all gone and tried and get with the aggregators, etc. I think the volatility and the lack of homogeneity in the growing pattern in the country, the market is so fragmented. Right, we are still in a country where average land holding is still 1 acre or less, right? We're not going to have corporate farming going to come in overnight. The growing and the consumption pattern is still going to be fragmented. So I think the opportunity is so huge and the room for improvement is so huge. I don't think there's any one person who's going to say and going to own any one space. You talk even about Kashmir apples today. It's more than 10,000 crores of an opportunity. So I think there are certain products which you can, and of course, we're talking about a product which has almost very less shelf life, right? We're not talking about apparels or some other product here, but we're talking about products which have a shelf life. So there's always going to be volatility. I don't think any one person is going to be able to do it. So I think corporate farming, etc., is all ruled out. I think the FPOs have a very strong role to play in this, right? These are some of the mini aggregators that work at a rural level. They come in and they tie a few farmers together. Cropping patterns can be done better. I think integrated crop management can be done a lot better. Agriculture practices can be done better. Yields can be improved on that. I think the FPOs as the aggregators have a role to play, and I think they will have an increasing role to play. But by and large, unless our consumption pattern is going to be fragmented, which is how it is and how it's going to continue to be, I think single channel aggregation is not going to take place. But there's a lot of scope for people to come in on the logistics side, on the cold storage side, on the distribution side, and those are always going to be windows of opportunities. But the country is too large to tame in the next 1 year or with another $100 or $200 billion. I think there's a tremendous opportunity.
I'm going to slip in a short break on that note. Back in just a moment. Welcome back with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow Masterclass. Let me quickly take our second poll question for our audience. This is on your screen as I speak. This question is, will e-commerce and e-retail soon become the default option for shopping in India? Yes or no? Do send us your response. Coming back to our panelists and just an extension of the poll question for our audience, reports suggesting that e-tail will overtake modern retail by 2026. In a scenario like this, I know we've discussed it in parts over the course of this masterclass, but for a small business who says, I need to prepare for that, should they be looking at consolidation? Should they be looking at heavy investments? If you're looking at investments, what areas should you be looking at investing in? What would you like to tell them? Open to the three of you.
I would just say that just concentrate on your customers. That's number one. Go into the basic minimum digital requirement. So, for example, there are a lot of retailers who still do not have UPI payments, do not have enough technology used to manage their inventory. I mean, in retail, most of us sit with all our profits in the inventory, but it is not visible to us because we don't have a proper inventory counting system. We don't have the financial tools to measure profitability or look at cash flows. So simple things like this will actually ensure that you won't have a challenge. And I would like to meet the person who said that by 2026, e-tailing will take over retailing. I mean, there is absolutely no evidence of that. Okay. And let me give you a slight. If the whole consumption in India is 700 to 800 billion dollars and is likely to go to $1 trillion, and this consumption is growing by approximately 6 to 7%. For discussion, let's take it as 5%. We are talking about $50 billion of growth in the pie. E-commerce is not even contributing $50 billion. So where is the question of it taking over? Yes, the growth pie is going more to digital, but there are many years before it can even start cutting into the pie of the base of the Indian consumption. So I don't think we should make these statements and actually put fear into, especially the MSMEs, whose resources are less. And just cater to your customers. The consumption is going up, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, money is coming into their hands. And once some of these crises settles down, there is opportunity. But yes, be digital. Be digital to connect with your customers. That is important. Have the ability to connect with your customers.
Our audience, though, seems to maybe slightly disagree because 82% are saying yes and 18% are saying no, that e-commerce is going to become the default. Let me then take closing comments from all three panelists as we have run completely out of time on today's masterclass. There's so much more to discuss, I know. Perhaps we should look at revisiting this masterclass in the next few months. But your outlook for 2022, this is for all three of you, given everything that's changing, possible fourth wave coming in, continued pressure as far as inflation is concerned, continued pressure as far as input, cost, raw material, etc. What's your outlook for this space for 2022? Let me, maybe Yogesh, do you want to kick this off?
I am extremely optimistic. However the circumstances play out, I think we'd sort of we'd see the brighter side. It always looks scary point in time, but when you look back, I like I said, I built this when there was no clarity on the future. COVID, we didn't know how it's going to play out. I think these are smaller challenges. Every year you will keep on having such challenges. The view is extremely optimistic. I think every channel, every sort of consumer brand that's solving a genuine consumer problem with a good product is going to grow, not just in the next year, but compound in the next 5 to 10 years.
Sure. How about you, Gurmukh?
Look, I think I want to echo that sentiment here. I think the future is bright. I think we're in a country where consumption is increasing. It's going to continue to increase. We are probably going to have the largest accessible consumption market in the world in a few years. So I think anyone who's really aspiring to touch to that consumption market, I think consumerism and consumer businesses are here to stay. I think people need to really look at the supply chain and getting access to the customers. And I don't think, like everyone's on this panel said, I don't think technology is a solution for everything in all the business. It's an enabler, and I think people should really look at technology as an enablement rather than as a one solution for everything that's going to happen.
I'm going to give you the last word then, sir.
So to me, I am very positive about 2022, but I would like to add a few cautions. COVID pandemic has taught us a lot of lessons in business. Many of us were underperforming, underproductive because we had added up high costs. We have learned how to do things in the COVID. So please carry those efficiencies into the new system. We have this tendency of everything is good and let's go back into the old way of working. That will not work. That's one. Second is, during the COVID period, if you go back and look at it, the most successful businesses have been one, which as a brand have been very conscious towards consumers, and they're very customer centric. So you build a brand ahead of time to reap the benefit in situations. So please do not forget brand building, which means connecting with your customers, delivering the experience, and whatever good lessons you have learned during COVID, keep it with you. That will come in very, very handy.
That concludes this two-part special series on the e-retail space on the Leaders of Tomorrow Masterclass. If you have any feedback for us, do let us know. Our contact details on your screens as we speak. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.